Hello and welcome to this training video. This time we're focused on the consumer duty, and as you can see in the middle here, we've now added in Model Office Consumer Duty Validation Key, we call it, or think of it as a validation tool to all the hard work that you have conducted over the last year or so regarding implementation of the consumer duty regulations. So what we're doing, if you remember the principle of Model Office, what it will do is effectively audit your business across all your compliance needs, across all the rule book, which we break down, handbook, which we break down into 6 now constituent parts. And then the algorithm kicks in and looks at where you believe you are as a business and showcases where you actually are, and assesses automatically any gap analysis and provides an automated audit report, which allows you then to work on the key issues called an action tracker, which we'll touch on in a minute. So if I click on this key, the consumer duty validation key here, then you can see that the regulatory score is here, looking at how this particular firm has scored against all the rules and regulations, but also against the consumer duty regulations, that is, and also looks at how you're doing against your peers. We have over 900 firms on the platform now, so you can look at how you're doing against others in this particular area, and also gives you a 1-year target just to move forward. Below here, then, we've got a heat mapping across all the constituent parts of the consumer duty. We call these areas business functions, but think of them as governance, risk and compliance modules. And in each of these areas, then, it really is assessing the individual rules in these areas. So you can begin to see here, obviously, this particular firm, demo firm, has scored very poorly in the data MI monitoring and reporting requirements. You've got a general consumer duty area here, and then you've got the 4 outcomes, and you've got vulnerability as well, focused to here as well as governance. So below any of these areas, you can see that it gives you an overview of the consumer duty. It gives you a link to our latest webinars on the consumer duty, and you've also got some infographics that you can download, which you may find useful. Below here, then, depending on how you've scored, then what we provide on the platform is what we call dynamic steers. It's where it gets dynamic. So all this is relevant to the score that you've scored and how to improve your score going forward. So lots of information here that you can click on and gain some more insight and just refresh your memory, if you like, on the individual areas. For example, in the data and MI area, here, you might want to download our data guide and MI guide, which will give you some more information around the types of data that you might want to be looking at, whether it's advisor T&C data, firm data, client behavioral data, and so forth. I'll touch on data in a little while when we'll talk about the integration with IntelliFlow Office, and we're also got an integration with Iris as well, which will do something very similar. So what we've then got is, as I say, full information here. So we can look at consumer duty vulnerability in this particular module. And then you've got full information regarding how to learn how to grow your score based on this score. Here we've teamed up with the Consumer Duty Alliance. So you can see here that it will give you a straight resource into their valuable dashboards, which can look at the vulnerability advisor support areas. Can also look at general consumer duty advisor support areas as well. Lots of really good information there they've worked hard on putting together for the industry. And once you've done that, you can also go back in and reassess yourselves. So against an individual area, you can do across the whole key up here, or individually you can take a look at whatever you want to focus on, and then take the assessment again, like so. Once you've focused on that, what you might want to also look at is we have a chatbot on the enterprise version. You can pump in any question into the chatbot and ask it about anything on the rule book, but this particular case you can ask about the consumer duty, and here it's saying it can tell you about the following: the principle, cross-cutting rules, 4 outcomes, governance, risk and compliance, and so forth. You'll click on that and you'll get that information through. So again, the chatbot is designed as signposting for you. Once you've also completed the individual key, you can then take a look on the action tracker, which is where the gap analysis comes. So you can focus on the actual key, which in this case is the consumer duty. You can then take a look at the area, the business function we call it, the module that you might want to be focused on. So this particular case looks at the MI and data reporting. and so forth. But you can look at any individual area in here, click all, and then you get everything. So what we want to do is avoid overwhelm. You've got all these areas to deal with. Rather than that, you can just focus on the individual areas. And once you've got that information, then you will whittle it down to the key areas that you've basically you need to focus on. Click on that area, and then you can actually look at getting the actions done with the team to make sure that you've got the kind of like the audit trail, that everything is completed in one place. So you can add notes in here, follow-on actions, delegated handover, and so forth. You can drag and drop any compliance files. Again, it's building up that audit trail. Add the person responsible in here. You can't complete it actually until you've got it to the right level up here, and obviously you've got the person responsible added in. Therefore we complete it. But also we have checkpoints on some of the areas that you can click on. So in this particular case, it's Principal Prin 2A, which is all about the monitoring consumer outcomes. Again, it's taking you straight to the source, saving you Google time around the handbook, which is good too. So once that's done, then I'll briefly show you the IntelliFlow Office piece. So here you've got the data quality checking across any duplicated clients you may have, any missing data across any individual clients. That's really important for you to clean up. But most importantly, on the consumer duty itself, you can pump in any client name in here and click on that client name. The algorithm will then go into that particular client, segment the client data, as you can see, across the 4 outcomes of the consumer duty. And this is answering the key issue regarding the FCA's real focus on identifying data, monitoring the quality of that data, and reporting on that data to support good outcomes. So this is looking at, for example, in products and services, looks at any missing value, low value data, medium to high value data in these data fields. On the left hand side of the grey line, you've got the parent data field. On the right hand side is the child. And obviously as you clean this up in this case IntelliFlow, then press refresh, it will hopefully show more green. But also this will then drive the actual overall score that we've given it. And again, this is just guidance only. From that side of it, we're hopefully providing more carrot than stick on this. And there's some red flags that might appear. So service cases, there's nothing in here. There might be, the firm might be using different technology for service cases, but that's fine. But the key issue is that the key areas like vulnerability owners and support, how particular service cases are supported is really important, as you can imagine, from a foreseeable harm perspective. So that needs to be kind of rectified. And nothing at all in price and value is also a red flag as well, because that will help with obviously fair value assessment going forward. You've got all sorts of issues in here: opportunities, marketing preferences of the client name, details, looking at employment, Data Protection Act, and so forth. So hopefully you found this useful. If you want more information on all this information and how we are helping firms now move to validation of the hard work they've done on an implementation process for consumer duty, contact us on info@model-office.co.uk. Thank you very much for your time.